Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Europe's prehistoric mega settlements, how they were almost exclusively vegetarian, how these mega settlements relied on fertilizer and plant proteins to survive.
Yep, that's right.
Ooh.
That's right. It's the vegan prehistoric peoples.
Oh no, we're about to
Yeah,
awaken that crowd.
yeah. So the mega settlements in particular belong to the Tripilia societies, which existed about 6,000 years ago in Moldova and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Um, and these societies constructed settlements that took up about 790 acres apiece. Uh,
That's huge.
they're they're often argued to be the earliest cities in Europe. Uh, However, they would not have been a densely urbanized environment. Just sort of just massive, rows of single family, like almost suburban houses, kind of living arrangements.
Well, and the thing that happened here that I find very interesting and that you see across the world is these civilizations start sprouting larger settlements and cities after the invention of agriculture and large scale agriculture, because now they're able to rely more heavily on plants and they rely less as much on hunting and gathering. They will still supplement their diets with that, but once we see that shift into cultivation, you can actually start seeing the effects of that on the humans, and that's part of what this article actually discusses is the nitrogen levels inside the humans. You're actually able to look at and to see what their diets predominantly consisted of. If you have larger numbers of nitrogen in your system, it's more than likely you're eating high protein plant based materials versus if you have large amount of carbon, which would be
Yeah,
more akin to
animals.
yes.
Yeah, animal production. Yeah, animals have carbon, way too much carbon.
And that is reflected in what you eat to the point of you can actually see where someone is originally from by looking at their carbon and nitrogen levels in their teeth because it relates to the part of the world to where they were born. However,
Yeah,
you can see where someone lived for most of their life based on the carbon and nitrogen in their diet.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of
definitely.
fascinating studies that can happen to the human body.
Yeah, and one of the fun things building on like your earlier point of like, agriculture is in order to feed the number of people that logically would have to live here, even at like the minimum population density for a 790 acre city, um, would require very much sophisticated both agriculture and pasture management because it's not just the growing plants. It's keeping all the sheep and the goats and the other things to supplement your diet and get yourself wool and cheese and all that good stuff.
Well, and that's exactly what we start seeing because now they're starting to produce more calories per acre by using a combination of plant cultivation and animal husbandry. And
Yeah,
you're able to see a healthier, more production of food, and the labor intensive hours, the resource consuming production of meat was effectively gone. You didn't have to go on these multi day hunts, these week long hunts trying to get food or having to go out multiple times to do it when a couple of times a day you throw some grain that you were growing to your animals and now you've got both. You've got the best of both worlds.
yeah. The interlinking is really shown in the pea straw because one of the primary agricultural components of this site was peas. And the parts of the pea that the humans don't eat is great for feeding cattle and sheep and all sorts of animals that you need to keep alive. All the grazing animals that you would ever want. They love that stuff.
I mean, a lot of animals that farmers raise today are what they refer to as natural garbage disposals. Like chickens will eat pretty much anything and they will eat it well. Same with pigs. I mean, you throw it to them, they eat all the scraps, the leftover food that you don't use. the peels from your dinner, the extra bits left over, they'll just devour it. And
Pigs are
it
notorious for eating everything.
and it's zero waste, which is incredible. And this is something you see throughout the course of history that is very interesting to me is the point of cultivation means that the calorie output outweighs the amount of people that need to work. So you start seeing a surplus in labor, which that starts translating to a more specialization of skills. You start seeing people focusing in non-food related production skills such as blacksmithing. You see metal development, you see administration, you see the development of larger scale societies, the complex societal structures that arise from it.
Yeah, carpentry, pottery, art, writing, um,
Music,
the
really.
concept of government.
Yeah. All of these are a byproduct of farmers.
Yeah.
So, give a farmer a hug today if you like all that stuff. But it really is like this is truly the genesis moment of civilizations, and it's something that we see across the world. It's not unique to any one part of the world. Everywhere in the world there are places where food and crops proliferate to a point where people start doing large scale agriculture. I mean,
Yeah,
the bread
like
basket in the Middle East.
yeah, there's hundreds of places that have that do this and have it all on an industrial scale. What makes this site unique and why we are talking about Trypillia is because the, I guess we would call urban center for it gets so big so early. And that's why it's called the ancient mega city, because it's just, yeah, we got 790 acres of just humans.
Well, and
Humans as far as the eye can see.
and scientists say that it's one of the earliest cities in Europe. There's more definitive statements that were made in this article, but though you tend not to make that definitive. But they have carbon dated it. They have actually validated it, and it is one of the oldest cities in Europe. So it truly is a thing to behold, and just the size, scale, and complexity is what sets it apart. Even though it may not be the first one, it's definitely a very impressive one, and it's cool to see information like this actually start coming out and be published and produced.
And just seeing something get this big this early into like humanity figuring out the cycle of agriculture is always very fun to see, and it's very exciting that we like places like this just because it's just proven that, like, no, humanity had a formula.
It's the birth
And it
of
was the
humanity.
same. Yeah, and it was about the same everywhere, and you can get really big off it really quick.
The interesting thing here too, and they do highlight this is one of the rare instances where you see animal husbandry and farming proliferate at roughly the same time. So not only did they master one form, they mastered it both.
Yeah, usually societies end up prioritizing one over the other based on the environment to which they have access. If you live in a rocky mountainous region, you will prioritize animal husbandry over large scale farming. If you live somewhere where it like Ukraine or Moldova over here, where you have frequent rain seasons and frequent dry seasons, you might prioritize farming. Here, they were able to prioritize both because they just had the land for it.
The breadbasket of Europe.
Yep.
But that's a great point for us to wrap up. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. Peace.